All right, so our video is going to be pretty quick. The whole first set of these, remember, is to factor out the common factor. So we're looking for the greatest common factor, or the greatest number we can divide into each piece. So we kind of talked about question 1 today. Remember, there's not a number that divides into all of these, but since they are all negative, we can divide a -1 out. Also, when we look at the exponents, remember, I think you all figured out the shortcut was to find the smallest exponent that each of them has. So this is b squared. I can take out of every one. This greatest common factor that I divide comes to the front. And then in parentheses is the rest of my division problem. So that's going to leave me with 8. The b squareds will cancel. Plus 4b plus 5b to the 4th. All right, remember, because in the middle here I've got 3 b's and I take 2 away. Then I have 6 b's and I take 4 away. All right, question 2. We can divide out, let's see, we can divide a 2 into all of these. And if we look at our variables, it looks like we can divide at least one a into all of them. That's the smallest number. So when I do that, I'm going to have 2a, -9a squared. Remember, I'm dividing and then subtracting for the variables, plus 15a plus 9. All right, question 3. Here, there are no variables that they all have in common, but I can divide a 3 into all of them. So I'm going to get 3, 2x squared plus 9x minus 1. So even though these 3's cancel at the end, you still have to have a number there because you're dividing. So that's why we got the -1. Last one up here at the top is going to be, it looks like I can divide by 5, or I'm actually going to do -5 since 2 of these are negative, specifically the first number, so -5, 3b squared plus b minus 5. So the whole first. All right, for 5 and 6, all they're doing is asking you to name their roots, which remember are opposite. So I've got 8, 0, -1, -1, 0. And then on 6, I have 3, +3, 0, and -4, 0. For 7, 8, 9, and 10, remember you're just trying to pick 2 numbers. The third number is like the top, what they multiply to. And the middle number is the bottom, or what they add to. On 8, we talked about how you have to take the GCF out first, divide by 2. So you're really going to be working the problem v squared plus v minus 6 equals 0. On 9 and 10, it has to equal 0 first, so I've got to add 7, which is going to give me a squared plus 14a plus 49 equals 0. And on 10, n squared, if I add 4 to both sides, minus 12n plus 35 equals 0. So now that we've done that, I'm going to pause the video and just go ahead and give you the answers so that you can check and see if you're right. The only thing that we may have different is on question 9. Notice that these 2 points are the same, so you don't necessarily have to list them twice, but it's not going to count against you if you do, which is why I went ahead and listed them twice in the answer. So if you remember, I'm not going to do question 12, just question 11. The slope, remember, comes from the very front number, so my slope is 2. Vertex is opposite on the inside, same on the outside, which is going to give me -2, -2. Axis of symmetry is x equals the x value from your vertex. Domain, always all real numbers. Range is going to be y. Because this is up, it's going to be greater than or equal to. And then my slope, or I'm sorry, my other number is going to come from the y part of my vertex, which is -2. If you wanted to pause and go ahead and take a minute to graph all this, you could. So if I go ahead and graph all of these things, there's my vertex, I've got my slope, I'm sorry, my axis of symmetry, and then if I do my slope, it's up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. And on this question, we have actually just plotted the roots also, so when we factor at the end, we know what we should be getting. All right, remember we multiply to find the y-intercept. So if I multiply here, I've got to do the x plus 2 part first. All right, that's going to give me x squared plus 2x plus 2x plus 4. Then I'm going to bring down my 2 and my minus 2. If I distribute, that gives me 2x squared plus 4x plus 4x plus 8 minus 2. And then combine like terms, and that will give me, as a final answer, let's see, I'll have to write over this 2x squared plus 8x plus 6, which means my y-intercept is going to be at 6, which is something that I can go ahead and graph. So I'm going to go ahead and move back to my graph up here and plot a point 6 on the y-axis. And the last thing I have to do is find my roots. So to do that, we have to factor. And remember, to factor, we have to take a GCF out first. So I'll work in. All right, my GCF is 2, which leaves me with x squared plus 4x plus 3 equals 0. And my two numbers are going to be 3 and 1, so x plus 3, x plus 1. And then roots are opposite of that, so that's why I'm getting -3, 0, and -1, 0. And if we look back at our graph, those are the 2 points we already had. So the only thing we have left to do is connect and make our U shape.